And why do you have fear of failure? And whatever it is that you have defined as failure, shame and it's guilt, and these are your drivers. Doing well because you're trying to avoid something else is going to exhaust you. Curiosity takes no effort, none, because it is not based on memory. Hello, and welcome to Whose Race Are You Running? My name is Sia, and I'm here to talk about you. Fear creates drive. Fear drives. That's it. It drives. You bullishly go ahead. And after that bullish joyride, which is not joyful at all, there are its consequences. Why do you want fear to be the driver of your life when involvement, joy can be the drivers of your life? It makes no sense. One, if given a choice, okay, if really given a choice, I've heard this a lot from a lot of people. It's my fear of failure that keeps me going. I mean, okay, let's examine that. Okay, I will not be judgmental for the moment, but let's really examine that. It's my fear of failure that keeps me going. First of all, that means A, you have defined success and you have defined failure. All right. Um, define success how 90% of the people telling me that line are, something societally, I would say, in a higher class than whatever you would have been in before. So somebody who's been able to go from, let's say, a one bedroom in I don't know, a slightly in a suburban area to maybe a two bedroom in a more popular area in the city, right? uh, Definition of success. A higher paying job, definition of success. A more successful relationship with a partner, definition of success. Appreciation from the parents, definition of success. So you've defined all of this to mean success, first of all. Okay. Which means what's failure? Not progressing with salary. Okay. Not being able to move from a one bedroom. Or worse, having to move into a studio apartment, right? Same, worse in the salary situation, going from whatever, a 75,000 a month paying job to a 35,000 a month paying job, failure. And so and so and so and so. All right. Now we have defined success is this and failure is this. Fear of failure, which means you don't want to go lower than the money you're earning and or the house you're living in and or the relationship that you have and or your parental approval and other societal approval and friend circle, etc. All right. Which means you want to move this way upwards in your salary structure, right? Driver is fear of failure, fear of being able to go down. So now what are you going to do? How is the action going to be? Right? Every situation that comes your way in life, you're going to judge it basis whether it is pushing you upward in that way or downward in that way. Right? If you're very lucky, you enjoy doing whatever it is that you do for work to go upward. If you don't enjoy it, you force yourself to do it anyway because you're going to go upward, and the fear of failure is keeping you away from doing things that you enjoy. Okay, so whatever it may take, your 5 years, your 3 years, your 2 years, that pushes you from one step to another, and there is no end to it, right? If you're in three bedroom, then you're going to want to want five bedroom. If you're in five bedroom, you're going to want a beach house in, I don't know, some other vacation place, something else. There is no end to it. So you're going, you're happy about doing what? Miserably living your life to just push through and not have to come down. And why do you have fear of failure? And whatever it is that you have defined as failure, shame and it's guilt, and these are your drivers. Alternate scenario of exactly the same thing. Okay. You love whatever it is that you're doing. You're exceptionally curious about it. You want to find out more and more about it. It doesn't matter whether it gives you a three-bedroom house or a one-bedroom house because there is no definition. Living in a one-bedroom is bad. Living in a one-bedroom, three-bedroom is good. There is no definition. Living well is good. Okay. Now you're doing a job that is a subject that really excites you. You're curious about. You want to find out what all is there, what all can be done about that. Which one is going to push you into understanding that job to its fullest? And which employer is not going to pay you more for doing a job so well that nobody knows it better than you? So, why are you so proud of that fear of failure driving you? So, while we're on the subject of fear of failure, fear of anything really, there's another thing that I thought would be nice to touch upon, which is curiosity. Curiosity, if we go underneath that word, it is the wanting to know about something. Okay, now if the want is backed by desire, that means you need to know about that particular thing for survival. Okay, that's a very different thing. If you don't know about it, many things may happen to you. That is anxiety causing. But again, anxiety, if that kind of feeling is there, that kind of sensation is there, there's fear underneath that. Curiosity is something that excites you, that you want to know a lot about it, and the more you explore about it, the happier you get. Happier in the sense, again, penetrate the word happy. You're being able to go with the flow of the understanding and the learning of unexploring the lengths and depths of that particular thing. That is curiosity, right? It does not have a, a unconscious drive. Okay, it's a very present thing, as in when you're learning more about it, because you're interested in that particular subject or that particular thing, you're discovering more and more and more about it. And the more you learn about it, the more you want to do about it, that kind of a thing. It's not backed by anything else except simply a want to know that better, is a very different thing. Okay. Again, if we take fear of failure, for example, fear of having to move from the three-bedroom to the one-bedroom, that's your driver for doing well at your work, right? Versus curiosity being the basis of you doing well at your job. I mean, just use your own intelligence and your own intellect and see which one's going to lead you to a healthier life. Doing well because you're trying to avoid something else is going to exhaust you. Curiosity takes no effort, none, because it is not based on memory. It is based on the present input and stimuli and your response to the present input and stimuli. Fear as a driver is based on you avoiding something else. Then, in that situation, there is always conflict. Conflict drains energy. Draining of energy is the basis of unhealthy lives. Uh, just because it has worked for you in the past does not mean it needs to be that way today. Just because, we have lived half our lives like that does not mean we need to live the rest of our lives that. And nobody else is responsible for making, any of these decisions in our life. This has nothing to do with somebody outside of us, as in outside of our own selves. Yeah. So it's very possible. Everything, health is very possible. Good, solid existence is very, very possible. It just depends on what you want for yourself.